Thank you very much, Chairman King, and good morning, and thank you for holding this very important hearing. I want to thank the witnesses that I know are going to be here later to discuss what I think is a very, very important topic. And let me say to the Chairman of the Rules Committee, Chairman Schumer, I really appreciate your statement about we're going to have a vote this year on a constitutional amendment. I think it's about time. We've had several votes. I think we had one in '97, we had one in 2001, but these rulings by the Supreme Court have gone so far that we're really ripe for having a vote and trying to coalesce around something. I know that Justice Stevens is left, but I want to say the words I had in my statement to him. I'm sure it will get to him. As the author, Justice Stevens, of the dissent in Citizens United, you wrote that, quote, "The court's ruling threatens to undermine the integrity of elected institutions across the nation." And I have found myself agreeing with Justice Stevens, and unfortunately, this is another of those times. 4 years after Citizens United, the damage continues. The court's decision this month in McCutcheon was one more step in dismantling our campaign finance system. It's now crystal clear an amendment to the Constitution is necessary to allow meaningful campaign finance rules. And as I heard Chairman Schumer talk about the issue of it being absolute, that's what we're talking about, is allowing meaningful campaign finance rules, not in any way abridging the First Amendment. Most Americans don't have unlimited dollars to spend on elections around the country. They only get their one vote. They can support one candidate, the one who represents their district or state, but for the wealthy and the super wealthy, McCutcheon says they get so much more. That decision gave them a green light, full speed ahead to donate to an unlimited number of candidates. Now a billionaire in one state gets to influence the elections in 49 other states. Under McCutcheon, one donor can dole out $3.6 million every 2 years, just like that. Consider this: an American citizen working full-time, making minimum wage, would have to work 239 years to make that kind of money. 239 years. The court has shown a willingness to strike down sensible regulations by a narrow majority and is returning our campaign finance system to Watergate-era rules, the same rules that fostered corruption, outraged voters, and promoted campaign finance standards in the first place. But our campaign finance system was in trouble long before. The Citizens United and McCutcheon decisions just picked up the pace. The court laid the groundwork many years ago, and I know Justice Stevens mentioned this in the case of Buckley versus Vallejo. It goes all the way back to 1976. The court ruled that restricting independent campaign expenditures violates the First Amendment right to free speech. In effect, money and speech are the same thing. This is tortured logic and ignores the reality of political campaigns. The outcome is not surprising. Elections have become more about the quantity of cash and less about the quality of ideas, more about special interests and less about public service. We have a broken system based on a deeply flawed premise. That's why I introduced S.J. Res. 19 last June. It now has 35 co-sponsors, and I think I believe Senator King and Senator Schumer are both on it. It's similar to bipartisan resolutions in previous Congresses. Actually, it started with Senator Stevens, I believe, back in 1983, so it has true bipartisan roots and is consistent with the amendment that Justice Stevens has proposed. It would restore the authority of Congress, stripped by the court, to regulate the raising and spending of money for federal political campaigns. This would include independent expenditures, and it would allow states to do the same at their level. It would not dictate any specific policies or regulations, but it would allow Congress to pass sensible campaign finance reform. reform that withstands constitutional challenges. In the Federalist Paper number 49, James Madison argued that the U.S. Constitution should be amended only, and he used this term, only in great and extraordinary occasions should we go with a constitutional amendment. And I agree with him. I also believe we have reached one of those occasions. Free and fair elections are a founding principle of our democracy. They should not be for sale to the highest bidder. This effort started decades ago. There is a long, and I might add, bipartisan history here. Many of our predecessors from both parties understand the danger. They knew the corrosive effect money has had on our political system. They spent years championing the cause. In 1983, the 98th Congress, Senator Ted Stevens introduced an amendment to overturn Buckley. And in every Congress from the 99th to the 108th, Senator Fritz Hollings introduced bipartisan constitutional amendments similar to mine. Senators Schumer and Cochran continued the effort in the 109th Congress. And that was before the Citizens United and McCutcheon decisions, before things went from bad to worse. The out-of-control spending before Citizens United has further poisoned our elections, but it has also ignited a broad movement to amend the Constitution. McCutcheon is the latest misguided decision, but it won't be the last. It's time for Congress to take back control and pass a constitutional amendment. And again, Chairman King and Chairman Schumer, I thank you for holding this hearing, and I think it's very, very timely on the heels of McCutcheon. Appreciate it.